Russian troops launched a noticeable local counterattack on Tuesday in an attempt to encircle the eastern front in the city of Avdiivka in Ukraine, an official reported. This information was confirmed by multiple sources, who noted how Russian tanks and armored personnel carriers, supported by airstrikes starting at 5 a.m., advanced towards Ukrainian defense lines. Avdiivka, a city defended by Ukrainian forces since 2005 after Russia's first invasion of Ukraine, is located north of Russian-controlled Donetsk. Donetsk was taken over by pro-Russian separatists in 2014. Vitaly Barabash, head of the municipal authorities in Avdiivka, expressed his concern about the escalating situation, emphasizing that he was afraid of the possibility of Russia occupying the city. Russian military forces began artillery fire that was continuous and intense. According to local policeman Pavel Dyachenko, 2,000 residents remain in the city and are witnessing a serious artillery attack. Social media from Avdiivka reported that Russian forces carried out 5 separate attacks on Tuesday evening, supported by artillery and air fire. Military movements are documented by unconfirmed video footage that shows Russian Mi-28 combat helicopters and tanks leading an armored column in the Avdiivka area. Ukrainian forces, which tried to regain control of the territories captured by Russia in June, focused on weakening the combat potential of the Russian army through its attrition, rather than on conquering new territories. On some sections of the front, especially in the northeastern Kharkov region, Russian troops gained the upper hand. However, there had been relatively little change in the front line since the summer of 2022, when the last major Russian offensive lost momentum after the capture of the cities of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. Following Hamas's recent surprise attack on Israel, the United States has decided to increase military support for the Jewish state. Nevertheless, according to a statement by U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Julianne Smith, this additional support for Israel will not negatively impact Washington's ability to continue military support for Ukraine. Smith emphasized that the U.S. can simultaneously fulfill its obligations to Israel and Ukraine. President Joe Biden's decision to increase support for Israel, including bringing U.S. military units closer to Israel, came as the White House administration sought to continue arms supplies to Ukraine, despite opposition in the U.S. Congress. In the background of these actions, there is an upcoming meeting of Ukraine's international allies in Brussels, where the main goal of the talks will be maintaining military support for Ukraine, especially in the context of air defense and the potential threat from Russia. Despite the U.S. Congress suspending certain supplies of support to Ukraine, the United States remains a key supplier of military support to Ukraine. In fact, U.S. support exceeds that provided by all European NATO members and Canada combined since Russia began its invasion of Ukraine last year. Diplomats from Western countries claim that arms supplies to Ukraine are still at an adequate level. Nevertheless, a top European Union official expressed concerns that the EU would not be able to fill a possible financial gap in support for Ukraine on its own if the US decided to reduce its aid. In the context of the armed conflict in Ukraine, new reports are emerging regarding the progress of Ukrainian troops and potential actions of Russian armed forces. Ukrainian forces made progress towards the east, especially in the Zaporizhia Oblast and around Bakhmut. The deterioration of weather conditions, including heavy rains, affected the combat operations of both sides, limiting, among others, use of reconnaissance drones. Despite difficult conditions, the Institute for War Studies, ISW, predicts that the upcoming winter season will not stop Ukraine's counteroffensive. The death toll from the Russian-led missile attack on the village of Hroza has risen to 53. Additionally, reports indicate a Russian kamikaze drone attack targeting infrastructure in Ukraine. There are also concerns about potential provocative Russian actions on Belarusian territory. The National Center of Resistance of the Ukrainian Army has warned of a planned false flag attack on a Belarusian oil depot in order to blame Ukraine. Information about the provision of military support to Ukraine also plays an important role in the complex landscape of this conflict. The United States and its ambassador to NATO have assured that military aid to Israel will not affect support provided to Ukraine, despite concerns about a potential shift in Washington's priorities. In light of these developments, it is crucial to follow and analyze news to understand the full picture of the situation and its potential consequences for regional and international security. the German authorities announced that they would provide Ukraine with an advanced defense support package worth close to 1 billion euros. As announced by the German Ministry of Defense on October 10th, this support includes modern air defense systems, including the Patriot system. This package also includes the Iris-T and Gepard systems. The purpose of this decision is to improve Ukraine's ability to defend its key infrastructure, especially as the winter months approach. This is not an unfounded fear because earlier, on October 8th, the Ukrainian military authorities provided information about a potential threat from Russian drones that could be used to attack Ukrainian energy infrastructure. In previous years, such actions by Russia led to problems with energy supplies and heating in Ukraine. Additionally, Germany will provide Ukrainian special forces with support in the form of vehicles, weapons, and other equipment worth more than 20 million euros. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius emphasized that Germany is committed to continuing to support Ukraine in key defense areas such as air defense, ammunition, and tank supplies. On October 10th, by government decree, the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, appointed Philip Pronin as the head of the Poltava Regional State Administration. Pronin, who has experience in the fight against corruption, previously held positions in the State Financial Monitoring Commission and other state institutions of Ukraine. This decision by the president comes in the context of growing pressure on his administration to decisively fight corruption so as not to lose international support. Since February 2022, countries such as the United States and other donors have provided support to Ukraine in excess of $165 billion. 41-year-old Pronin graduated from the Kiev University of Economics, where he earned a master's degree in international economics. He worked for the Ukrainian branch of a renowned audit office. On October 10, the Hromadske news website reported that Ihor Murashov, former director and current chief engineer of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, had probably acquired Russian citizenship in Russian-annexed Crimea in 2144. According to information from Hromadske, Murashov went to Crimea after the annexation of the territory and provided himself and his family with Russian documents. The website stressed that although the passport has expired, this does not affect citizenship status. In Ukraine, it is illegal to have two citizenships. Murashov accepted the position of director of the power plant shortly before the full-fledged Russian invasion in 2022. In March 2022, this power plant was occupied by Russian forces. Even though Murashov claims that he did not cooperate with the Russian occupiers and was abducted by them, Hromadske found no evidence to contradict these words. After these events, Murashov resigned as director but continues to work as chief engineer at the power plant. Although Murashov currently lives in Kiev and works remotely, he does not deny the information about his visit to Crimea. However, he emphasizes that he did not apply for a Russian passport and was not aware of its existence. He also emphasizes his loyalty to Ukraine. On October 10th, as a result of the shelling by Russian forces of the village of Uroidi in the Sumy Oblast, a tragic event occurred. A child lost his life. According to the Suspilin medium, a 13-year-old girl was injured during an attack on a local educational institution. According to information, despite rescue attempts, the girl died in the rescue equipment. In a statement for Suspilny, the secretary of the Krasnopilia Commune Council described the scale of the destruction, mentioning the ruined school grounds, broken windows, and a damaged roof. He also emphasized that Russian forces attacked other towns in the Krasnopilia Commune, but fortunately, no other casualties or major damage were reported there. The Sumy Oblast, located close to the border with Russia, experiences almost daily attacks from this country. On October 10th, the Hromadske media reported on Russia's potential use of modern glider bombs in its strategy regarding Ukraine. Ukrainian forces are currently unable to effectively counter such ammunition. Recently, Russian forces used such bombs weighing between 250 to 500 kilograms near the city of Avdiivka, which increases tension in the region. After the attack, Russian forces attempted to surround Avdiivka. Reports indicate that Russian air units dropped large amounts of precision-guided bombs on Ukrainian positions, including trenches and headquarters. For example, the city of Berislav on the Dnieper River suffered numerous attacks with such bombs. Bombs used by Russia, such as the UPAB-1500 and FA-B-500, have become more common in recent months. Ukraine faces the challenge of lacking effective air defense measures against these bombs, although it has received significant support from Western allies in the form of air defense systems, such as Stinger, Gepard, and Patriot. Only a few of them are capable of intercepting Russian planes before dropping glider bombs. There is a risk that the deployment of the most advanced defense systems in close proximity to the front lines will make them a target for Russian missile attacks. In this context, the Russian Air Force is intensifying its operations, and the Ukrainian authorities are increasingly uncertain about the future scale of attacks by the Kremlin.